you can create like different ways to interact with your students. All right, so you will be able to see how to work with Nearpod throughout the whole presentation. And our first digital tool that is Mentimeter. Okay, Mentimeter, let me go back a little bit more. So in Mentimeter, yeah, Mentimeter is an interactive presentation software that allows teachers to interact with the students. Okay, so you can engage your audience in a better way and in a different way. Okay, for example, you can brainstorm ideas, you can ask and answer some questions, you can ask your students to collaborate, you can ask your students to participate in polls and stuff. Okay, so what I want you to do is to explore Mentimeter, and in the next slide here in Nearpod, you will have to click, okay, here in this slide, you have to click, so Nearpod will take you to Mentimeter. When you are in Mentimeter, you will have to enter a code, and that code is 373120. So I'll ask Jimena the favor to post this code in the chat so the teachers can actually know what the code is. That is the code that you have to enter. Once you click here in Nearpod, it will take you to Mentimeter, and Mentimeter will ask you for a code. That code is 373120.
Hang on. I will just 373120 in the chat room.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Teachers, can you give me a yes in the chat room if you've entered Mentimeter, please? Just for Andrés and I to know that you're there. Marina, yes. Thank you. Juan Carlos, yes. Jorge, yes. Mónica. Francisco. Melania, no. Have you opened Nearpod in your web browser? Because all you have to do is access it from the Nearpod presentation. If not, you can also go to Mentimeter and enter the code. Melania, yes. Veronica, yes. Okay. Okay, you can do it in Mentimeter directly. Yes, yes, Melania. 373120 is the code. Juana, yes. Uh-huh.
Mayra, that's great.
Mayra, you can either open it from Nearpod or go directly to Mentimeter. Over to you, Andrés.
Okay, yeah, you can go directly to Mentimeter. However, it is important for you to open the link because we will be using Nearpod throughout the whole presentation, as I already told you. Okay, so it is important that you get access to Nearpod. But just for this activity, just for you to get to know Mentimeter, you can access directly, okay, by using the code that Jimena just shared with you in the chat, okay? Before we move on, I just want to ask you, Jimena, if you can see my screen in Zoom?
Yes, perfectly. We can see it.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. Okay, so as you already are in Mentimeter, and I can see that you actually read the question, and I can see that you are answering. So for the people that couldn't enter to Mentimeter, as I already told you, you can go back to Zoom and you will be able to see what the teachers are doing, what the teachers are answering, and what I want my teachers to do. So in this case, as you can see, we are in the first slide, and that slide allowed me to post a question. So what the question was this one, or is this one: what digital tools have you used in your EFL or ESL classroom? So here we can see that some teachers answered Kahoot, Some of them wrote Google Classroom, Summative, Padlet, Zoom, Moodle. All right, there are slides, Zoom, quizzes. Okay, very good. Okay, the teachers keep it writing down. Yeah, I'm just going to give you like another minute for you to enter all those digital tools that you have used in your classes, that you have had to use in this challenging moment we're facing, because we have like learned a lot in terms of digital strategies and tools, and you know, these websites and stuff. Okay, good. So we're going to move on. We're going to continue with the next slide. Okay. However, before we move on, I just want to tell you that with this activity, you can actually activate students' prior knowledge, okay? Because you can identify, for example, high achievers that already know some words about the topic. You can start your topic. You can teach any topic that you want to teach, or that you have to cover in your schools. And you can start your classes by brainstorming ideas, by asking the students what they know about any specific topic, and to come up with some keywords that they already know about the topic. For example, here I can actually note that your teachers have used some digital tools like Kahoot, Google Classroom, Slides, Padlet, and stuff. Okay. In terms of reading and writing, this is a great opportunity for you teachers to check students' spelling. Okay, so you can actually see if those students are having some spelling mistakes, and you can correct them right away. You can provide them with rich feedback instantly. Okay, as I already told you, you can identify those high achievers that know something about the topic, but you can also identify those students that haven't had the chance to get exposed to this like English courses, or that don't know anything about the topic or any word about the topic that you are presenting. It is a great opportunity for you to introduce the topic. Okay, it helps students work with writing. You can introduce vocabulary, so students can learn more words since the very beginning of the class. Okay. In the next slide, here, the next slide, in Mentimeter, you will have to answer another question, but this is like a poll. It works like a poll. And the question is, which digital tool do you know the most? Okay, so I'll wait like, okay, I have one answered, and that answer was the Google Classroom. So, okay, now Mentimeter, that's good. So what I want you to do, teachers, is to answer that question, okay? Because this question will give me a lot of information about the knowledge that you have, okay? In terms of these digital tools or these websites, okay? With this type of exercise, for example, I can know how much my teachers, or my audience in this case, okay, or you can know how much your students know about a topic, okay. For example, in this case, I can know how much you know about these tools, so I can take a longer time explaining the one that you don't know that much. All right. For example, I can see here that 50% of the teachers have already used Google Classrooms. Okay, and that's the tool that they know the most. And in the second place, we have Google Docs with 33%. All right, there is one digital tool that is called Write and Improve, and nobody, okay, according to what Mentimeter is showing me, nobody knows how to use it, or nobody has used it before, Write and Improve. So with that information, I can somehow adjust my presentation or my class, okay, and I can focus on that particular information that my audience doesn't know, okay. In your case, those students. All right, I can see that Write and Improve hasn't been used before. Nearpod hasn't hasn't been used before, and my own has 8% and Mentimeter 8%. So that digital tool that you know the most is Google Classroom. That's great. Okay. Another feature that you can actually use here with in Mentimeter is this one. You can add any single picture that you have stored in your computers, or that you found in the website and you found it really interesting to share with your students. So you can upload this type of pictures, and you can actually teach something about the content of that picture to your students. The students, if they like it, as you are doing it right now, that they can click on that heart. All right, so the teacher can actually sees that the students are enjoying what you are showing right now. Okay, you know that when it comes to writing, it is really important to introduce these connectors, okay, because these connectors will allow students to make comparisons, to connect ideas, to contrast some ideas, okay, to use time and sequence in their reading reports and stuff, and to show cause and effect. So it is really important for the students to know these words, so they can actually create like better reading reports, okay, and more accurate. However, if you show these words in a list, okay, and if you ask your students to memorize, probably they will do it, because they will always want to pass the course, right? They will memorize like one night before the test, and then they're going to demonstrate you teachers that they already know these connectors. But the most important thing is that you have to show students how to use those connectors in context. So my next slide is another picture in which I can show my students how to use those isolated words that I just showed it before, like in a list, okay, categorized by different groups, but isolated without any connection. So right here, you can show them how people actually use those words that were presented before in a real context, okay? And at the end of after the paragraph, you can see some top tips for writing. The first one is like those connectors used in context, but the second one is how to express opinions. Okay, that's something really important to teach to your students. Okay, so as you can see, Mentimeter allows you to not only ask questions to your students, okay, or to introduce the topic, but also to introduce like the content of the topic, okay, of the class. You can't upload this type of pictures, but well, it is a matter of your imagination, because you can take pictures to anything, okay, some screenshots, and you can upload it here in Mentimeter. You can read, you can ask your students to read some of the, if you post an image with a short paragraph, you can ask your students to read it, you can correct their pronunciation, or you can actually ask your students to pay attention while you read, okay? So you can't, as I told you, you can let your imagination like go beyond. In the next slide, you can ask your students to come up with any question, okay? So here, as you can see in Mentimeter, you can start writing down some questions, okay? So that's another way to interact with your students. It is not only a matter of speaking all the time, teaching them something, like throwing them lots of information and not allowing them to actually interact, to write down, to ask questions. So this is important, okay? So you can ask students to come up with questions. You can practice with a grammar topic. For example, if you are teaching simple past, well, you can ask your students to write down the simple past question, and you can check if the grammar is structured, it's okay. If the students are having problems formulating questions, and you can give them feedback, all right? right away. Another one, another feature that you can use is this one. Okay, you can create this type of questions in which the students have to rate some rules or whatever the topic you're teaching. You can organize that information there, and well, you will once again know what your students think about that. I want you to stop using Mentimeter and I want you to go back to Zoom, okay? Because I want to show you how the teacher actually sees what the students are doing. So I want you to go back to Zoom, and in Zoom, I'm going to show you your answers. For example, the first slide, in which you have to brainstorm some digital tools or those words that you know about this topic, look like this one. Okay, so as you can see, there are like lots of words, and what Mentimeter does is to organize them in this like cloud or in this like cool presentation. Okay, in the second one, the second one, I ask you which digital tool do you know the most, and here I got your results. So as you can see, I can know how much you know about this topic, and you as teachers can know how much a student knows or the whole class knows about the specific topic you're teaching. Okay, so this is what I can see as a teacher, and based on that, you can make like really wise decisions during the class. Then, well, I have the pictures that I already showed you. Here you have the question that I asked you. Here I have another slide. That was the last slide that I showed you. However, I want to show you a little bit more. If I go to the left upper corner here in Mentimeter and I click here in Add Slide, in the right part of the screen, automatically I can see all those options that I have as a teacher to create my presentations. So as you can see, I can create a multiple choice question, I can create an open-ended question, I can create a word cloud exercise, okay? Here I can create a quiz, okay? If I want to evaluate my students, okay, at the end of the session, I can create this type of summative assessment techniques, okay? I can ask my students to type an answer, all right? And I can create slides. As you can see here, I can create content slides. I can create a heading slide, a paragraph slide, bullets slide, and stuff. So I don't have to use all the time PowerPoint. Okay, here you have another tool to use in order to interact with your students and provide them with instant feedback. Now we're going to move on to our next digital tool, which is Google Docs. I can see that 30% of the teachers that are here in the webinar answer that they know the most Google Docs, okay? However, there are some teachers that probably haven't used it before, so I'm going to let them know how Google Docs works, okay? For that, I want you to go back to Nearpod, okay? Remember, and just for the people that just arrived, okay, just connected, in the chat, there is a link that says Nearpod. I want you to click on that link, and that link will take you to Nearpod, which is the digital tool that we will be using throughout the whole webinar. So it is important for you to connect to that Nearpod link, all right? But just in case that you're having problems with that, you can stay with me here in Zoom because I'm sharing the screen, okay? Our second digital tool is Google Docs, as I already told you. And this is a powerful online word processing system, as you know. And it has useful features which can be used productively in the classroom, especially when it comes to reading and writing. Okay, all you have to do is to go to your Gmail account. I just don't want you to go to your Gmail account. I want you to go back to Zoom so you can see what I'm going to do. Okay, just in case that you don't know how to open Google Docs and what to do with the Google Docs, I just want to show you. You have to go to your Gmail account, and once you are in your Gmail account, you have to click on the right upper corner, okay, here in this symbol, and in that symbol, if you click on that and you scroll all the way down, you will find something that is called Documents. I'm going to put this here. Okay, I'm going to be able to click here in Documents, and in Documents, I have the chance to create a blank document, or I have the chance to use those documents that I have created before. So I'm going to use this one that says Reading Strategies. And here in the document Reading Strategies, I have some information that I already posted here. And as you can see, you can create your own classes. You can structure your own classes. And for example, I posted here the objective for the first session. And the objective here is understand the steps to write a paragraph. And the final task, the final activity that I want my students to come up with is write a paragraph about social networking websites. Here I can post as many images as I can, okay? For example, I posted this one that says paragraph writing, and it has some steps to come up with a really structured paragraph. And those steps are topic sentence, supporting ideas, adding details, and then every single paragraph needs to have a concluding sentence, okay? So what I did was to find some information in a website, and I just copy and paste it here. If you don't want to post all the article because that's too much information, you can paste a link and you can ask your students to continue reading the article or to continue like exploring that information in the website. So you can paste a link here in Google Docs. Those links will take the students to whatever the website you want, okay, your students to go. Here, I have some activities. So number one, read the rest of the article here. And number two, write a paragraph about the pros and cons of social networking websites. This is just an example. I just want to show you what you can actually do with Google Docs. So then what I did was to create this like, I insert some tables, okay, here. And I ask, for example, and I ask my students to use one of these like charts in order to enter their paragraphs, okay? So as you can see, there are some answers. Carolina Casanova, those are some students, Cristian Ramirez, Silvia Borda, Mateo Riaño. They wrote their paragraphs, and what is cool about Google Docs is that you can write down some comments so they can actually see what the mistakes were and what are the ways for them to correct them, okay? So, for example, here, if you read Carolina Casanova's paragraph, you can see that she made some grammar mistakes, like, for example, this one, social media spread information fast than any other media. So here we have a comparative sentence. What I did was to highlight this one, okay? And then I add a comment, okay? So I can write the right word, in this case faster, because she's using a comparative sentence, or I can tell Carolina to check the comparative rules, okay? So instead of giving my students all the time the right answers, I can ask them to go and check their notes or go and check their books or do some research about comparative rules so they can come up with the right sentence. Instead of giving them all the time the right answers, that would be great for them to do the whole process. and that will assure you teachers that they're actually learning something. Okay, good. If you read all of them, okay, if you take a look at all of them, all those paragraphs, you can see that they're missing the concluding sentence. So I can, for example, here, I highlight again, then I click here in this button that says add a comment, and I can write all the comments that I want my students to read. For example, here I wrote, don't forget to use a concluding sentence, which is important because they are supposed to know that, because I show it at the beginning of the class and I let them know what are those like components that are cool or that are good or that a successful paragraph needs to have. As I told you before, you can create all your classes here, you can organize them here, you can structure them here. Here I have session number 2. And once again, I posted a picture that I found in Google, and that one is about reading comprehension strategies. So I can show them all those strategies that we have for reading. I can like take my time to explain one of those, which are really important. And after that, I can post an article. Okay, here, this article, don't forget always to post the reference. Okay, the link where you found those articles. Okay, I posted this article, and then what I did was to create some reading comprehension questions. So here they have their reading comprehension questions, and as I already showed you, they can enter all their answers there. Okay, in those charts, if you want to have everything organized. I want to show you this web page. This is a British Consul web page, and this is really cool because it will allow you teachers to work with all skills. And for example, if I go here to skills, okay, I will have all skills. I'm going to click on the reading one, and in the reading one, I'm going to be able to find different articles, okay, really appealing for the students and categorized by English levels. For example, if I opened upper intermediate B2 reading, I'm going to have all these topics, all these articles. Are celebrities bad for you? Are zoos a good thing? Choosing a musical instrument, okay? So all these readings, you can actually use this page to share with your students these articles and ask your students to read carefully and answer the exercise or the questions that are after the article. For example, here there is one activity, okay? There are some questions about the content of the article, all right? Those are like multiple choice, and they are about the general idea. Some questions are about the general idea, and some of them are about specific details. So you can train your students, okay? And you can actually work with them with those reading strategies that are really important, like scanning and skimming. You can give them like some time for them to finish the whole task, and well, work with these reading strategies that I'm going to show you later in this webinar. Okay, I just wanted to show you this great web page because you can find lots of articles and work with your students. Now, well, in the third session, I have here, what are the difference between skimming and scanning skills? Okay, those reading strategies are really important for students to know, to understand, and they need to practice with them because they will help them a lot when reading, just in case that they have to take an international exam. Skimming and scanning are going to be really useful in those moments. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time, more time here in Google Docs because you already know how to use it, but I just wanted to show you that you can provide students with instant feedback. You can read your students' reading reports. You can comment on their reading reports, and you can actually work with peer assessment. You can ask your students to read one partner's reading report and make some comments. Make comments about grammar structures, make comments about spelling, and make comments about the content. If they agree, if they disagree, what are their opinions. So you can use Google Docs as a forum too, which is really, really powerful for the students, because as you know, the only time, most of them, the only time they have to practice with English in a communicative way is the English classroom. And sometimes they don't even use English in the classroom, or sometimes if you push them to use English all the time throughout the class, they're going to switch into Spanish as soon as they change the class, or as soon as they ring bells. Yes, once they leave the English classroom, they're going to switch into Spanish. Okay, so they need like more exposure to the language. And if you create a space for the students to use their English in a communicative way, that will be better for them. And in Google Docs, you can actually use it by means of creating like a forum here. Okay, ask your students to read and comment and express their opinions by using this digital tool, which is really, really amazing. Now, if you want to take Docs to the next level, well, you can create a class by using Google Classrooms. Okay, what you have to do with Google Classrooms is, once again, in your Gmail account, you go to the right upper corner. Okay, I'm going to open another one. I'm going to close here. And here in the same button where you found Google Docs, where it says Google Apps, you scroll all the way down, and you're going to have Classroom. When you click on Classroom, it will ask you, okay, here, once again, in the right upper corner, you're going to find this create or join a class. So you create your class here. You have to read this policy like terms. You just have to accept, click on continue, and then you will have to fill out this format. Okay, I already did it. I create this digital learning tools class just for you to know. This is the information that I entered. Okay, this is the same format that I just showed you. I entered digital learning tools. I didn't write anything in section. In subject, I wrote technology, and it is room number 1. That's all that you have to do. Then when you create your class, you enter, you just click on the class, you enter, and you're going to have this. Okay, you're going to have something that is called stream, something that is called class work, a tab that says people, and a tab that says grades. If I go to classwork, in classwork, I will be able to create assignments. I will be able to create a quiz assignment, questions, create upload material, reuse any post, and create topics. So if I want to create a topic, for example, about reading strategies, if I want to create a topic, reading strategies, I can do it, reading strategies. And now, if I want to create an assignment for that topic, I click here in create again. And for example, I'm going to create an assignment just for you to check. Once you click on assignment, Google Classroom will ask you to enter a title. So you can write any title that you want. Strategies, techniques, I'm going to write techniques. Reading techniques, and you can provide your students with instructions, okay, with the steps that they need to follow in order to complete the whole assignment if you want. And what is cool about Google Classrooms is that you can add a file from Google Drive. You can post any link you want your students to explore. You can upload any file that you have in your computer. Probably you have used like some articles for a long time because you think that well, the articles help a lot of students learn any topic, or yeah, you consider that those articles that you have stored and that you've used throughout a lot of time are really useful for them. You can upload them here. You can use some documents that you used recently. For example, this one that we were using before, the reading strategies document. So you can upload it here. The students are going to find it, and they're going to get access to that document, and they can actually start writing. Okay, you can create, if you don't want to take your students to the same article, then here in create, in this tab, you can create a new one. Okay, so based on what you are expecting from your students or what you want your students to do, well, you can sort of structure your whole class or your whole assignment. Okay, for example, here in instructions, you can ask your students to write an argumentative essay. Okay, but before writing that essay, you want your students to read something or watch a YouTube video, okay, about reading techniques or about any topic. I'm sorry, reading techniques. And here you're going to have all YouTube videos about the topic that you want. Okay, so reading techniques, I'm going to choose this video, I click on add, and now I have my reading techniques video here. If I want my students to read an article, if I want my students to watch a video here in this assignment, I can actually do it. Okay, for example, I can ask my students, the first step is watch the video. The second step is read the article. And the third one is write a summary about the content of the video and article. This is just an example, okay? I'm just coming up with something just for you to get to know all the things that you can actually do here. You can structure a whole assignment, and the students will have to watch a video, read an article, and then they are going to create something. They have to produce. So in the document, you're going to be able to write down what they think, okay, about those, about that topic, about that video, about that article, and then you will be able to provide them with feedback, or you can ask your students once again to read what their partners wrote down and make some comments. So you are working with peer assessment techniques. Okay, it is not all about the teacher assessment. Okay, it is not all the time the teacher like correcting students or assessing students, but there has to be some times for the students to work collaboratively. Okay, now, I mean, moreover, if you want your students to come up with, to answer some questions, here in Create, you can click on Forms, and Forms will allow you to create a quiz. Okay, so here you have a multiple choice quiz. You can ask your students to come up with a short answer, with a paragraph, check boxes. You can add drop-down activities and stuff. Okay, so with this one, with Forms, you will be able to create questions. What is cool about Google Classroom is that you don't have to go to somewhere else. As you can see, you can post YouTube videos and you don't have to go to YouTube. You can create a document, you can create a quiz, you can create as many activities as you want, and you don't have to go somewhere else. Okay, you can do everything right here. In the right part of the screen, you will be able to establish a due date. Okay, so I want my students to finish this paragraph or written report or essay or whatever you want your students to do by the next week. Okay, April 29. So I set the due date. I want my students to get 100 points if they complete the whole assignment, or it depends on the number of points that you want to give them. So if you want to work with 10 points, okay, you can establish that here. And something that I forgot to mention is that with Google Classroom you can differentiate, okay, your teaching. Because, for example, if you identify some students that need more work, you can create assignments just for those students. Okay, here in all students, you're going to have a list of the students, and you just have to select the ones you want to assign that activity that you just created. Or if you consider that there are some fast finishers, those high achievers that finish so fast and then they do not pay attention, or they start doing different things, or they switched into Spanish, and you can create assignments, okay, special assignments for those students, okay, for that type of population, so you can differentiate your teaching. All right, good. Then the only thing that you have to do is to, okay, here where it says topic, so remember that we created the topic reading strategies, so you choose that one and you assigned. It is assigning, and now our assignment reading techniques is in our topic reading strategies. Okay, as I told you, you can create assignments, you can create quizzes, you can create questions, and you can create as many activities as you want with Google Classrooms. Okay, so teachers, now that we're done with Google Classroom, and before we move on with this, with Google Classroom, with Mentimeter, and with Google Docs, all you have to do is let your creativity and imagination go beyond, okay? Because what I'm showing you here are like some examples, all right, of what you can actually do with these 3 digital tools. However, as you can see, and with all these features, you can't do as many things as you want, okay? So just leave your creativity and imagination go beyond. I want you to go back to Nearpod. Okay? And in Nearpod, I'm going to show you another feature that it has. With Nearpod, you will be able to interact with your students. So here I have a question for you. What's your favorite digital feature so far? And I want you to come up with some answers so you can see how it works. All right? For the people that couldn't connect to Nearpod, I invite you to go to Zoom. I'm sharing the screen so you will be able to see what the teachers write and what the teacher can actually see while he's presenting or she's presenting. For example, one teacher just wrote Mentimeter. You can like students' comments, so you know you're all the time working with motivation. Okay, Paola wrote Google Classroom. Yeah, Google Classroom is really complete. Veronica loves Mentimeter. Mentimeter is a really great, powerful tool. Rashmika wrote, I find Google Classroom comfortable. Yeah, it is a really user-friendly digital tool that you can use, all right? And it is really great that you can post videos, articles, and you can work with Google Docs, Google Forms. I mean, all those apps that Google has available for everyone, you can actually use them in just one place, and you can work with develop, you know, reading and writing skills by allowing your students to write down, to use those tools like forums to communicate, to express your opinions, to peer assess themselves, okay, which is really cool. Okay, Alex wrote Zoom. Okay, that's great. Hortensia, Google Class sounds good for me. Jennifer Peraza wrote, lovely interaction in Mentimeter. Yeah, Mentimeter is great. All right, nice. As you can see, with Mentimeter, you can ask your students to come up with some ideas, and they have to write down, okay? But they cannot see the screen. Okay, they only see what they're answering. They cannot see what their partners are answering. Here with Nearpod, you can actually see what others are writing down. Okay, so you can learn from the teacher, but also from your partners. Okay, what the teacher has to do is to be attentive. Okay, and assess the students just in case they are writing with grammar mistakes or they're making some spelling mistakes. You can't assess them right away. Okay, you can provide them with instant feedback, which is really important when you are teaching virtually. Google Classroom is great. Mentimeter, Zoom. Okay, thanks a lot for those teachers that are participating. Okay, we're going to move on, and our fourth digital tool is this one that is called Write and Improve. Right at the beginning of this webinar, I asked you what was that digital tool that you know the most, and any of you teachers answered Write and Improve. It means that, well, 100% of the teachers that are connected right now haven't used Write and Improve, which is a really great tool, and I bet that you would love it, okay? This tool allowed you to work with different writing tasks, okay, for every single level, and with about really appealing topics for the students, okay, really interesting topics for the students to write down. With this website, I want to show you another feature Nearpod has, okay, because I'm going to let Nearpod present Write and Improve digital tool, okay? So in the next slide here in Nearpod, I'm going to show you a video, okay? So as you can see in Nearpod, you can upload videos. And I'm going to show you a video about Write and Improve. And the video is going to show you all features and all the activities that you can create and that you can do with your students here, okay? So we're going to watch it, and it takes like 5 minutes.
These are clearly impressive figures behind Write and Improve, the exciting new tool available to teachers and students of English around the world. The apparent simplicity of the user interface belies the intelligent technology that drives it. Even as you watch this short introduction, Write and Improve is itself learning and evolving, consolidating its place as an engaging and comprehensive learning experience at the forefront of technology. Write and Improve helps teachers to support their students as well as encouraging learners to have a go themselves. Learners can dive straight in, no need to register or log in, and it's free to use. The potential to write and to improve is accessible to learners at every level of ability, from schools and colleges to the world of business and commerce. To engender and sustain a real enthusiasm for learning, Write and Improve offers a wide range of subjects to write about. There are different levels depending on the learner's capabilities, along with the range of prompts which reflect what a learner might face in their exams. From the student's perspective, the system is beautifully simple. You write, you submit your work, Write and Improve reviews and returns it in a matter of seconds. This very simplicity underlines the dynamic power of the tool. Not only is it fast, but it is also context aware. In other words, it can assess whether a student's response is relevant to what was asked. In fact, the system comprehensively coaches the learner and helps them to focus on areas of improvement. One of the most exciting features of Write and Improve is the intelligence with which it gathers and incorporates data progressively through use. And as the tool refines itself, it engages the user, encouraging them to take personal responsibility for their development. And this is just the beginning. Write and Improve's data is a vital input in a variety of wider research projects run at Cambridge. The great joy of the system is the sheer functionality and flexibility of Write and Improve. The clue is in the name. The student can write and submit, then using the feedback, rewrite and resubmit again and again, gradually correcting and refining before moving on to a different topic with a new vocabulary and new challenges. It would be stretching it to claim that Write and Improve has a personality, but learners are encouraged to feel that they have an expert by their side as they learn, supporting them, coaxing them to move up the levels. As a special encouragement, they are awarded badges of different grades to celebrate their achievements, which they can share with other learners, friends, and family. Workbooks are a powerful way for learners to create and customize their work, as well as share their experience with fellow learners. Teachers can also assign workbooks to a whole class and then track their progress. We could go on, demonstrating the amazing functionality of Write and Improve. Suffice it to say that after just a couple of trial runs, most learners will move naturally.
Okay, teacher, so we're going to stop here, all right? Well, so great, isn't it? Write and Improve is a really great and powerful tool. As you could see, you can ask your students to write a note invitation, to come up with a guidebook entry, with a postcard, an email, a surprise party letter, or something like that. They can write about different topics that are really appealing for them. And one idea is that you can ask your students to write their paragraphs or their essays or their reading reports, whatever they are, in docs. Okay, so first you can ask your students to write down in docs, then you can ask your students to make some comments about their partner's reading reports. So you can provide those students with feedback, then they have to write again, okay, taking into account all the comments that their partners and you as teachers made, and come up with a final version. That final version can be posted here in Write and Improve, and they can see actually what happens. Okay, so they're going to have like different steps to create just a written report, okay, or a piece of writing. They're going to have like different steps, and it is going to be a scaffolding process, okay? So they're going to have like the first version, then the second draft, and then at the end with the final version they can post it here in Write and Improve and see if how much they have improved, okay, throughout that process of writing whatever you ask them to write. Okay, as you could see, it is also divided into different like levels. You have the beginner, you have the intermediate, you have the advanced level, and it is so cool. With this, I just wanted to show you that in Nearpod you can upload videos, okay? This is another feature that Nearpod has, and as I already told you, at the end of the session I will provide you with different links. So just in case that you want to know a little bit more about Write and Improve, you will have a webinar, okay? That link for Write and Improve will take you to a webinar in which you will get to know more and get familiar with this wonderful web page. So now we're gonna move on, and our next, okay, before we move on to our next digital tool, I want to show you this one. After a video or after an article or whatever I post here in Nearpod, I can ask my students to write a short paragraph. Okay, for example, here I'm asking you, I don't want you to write it down, okay, because it takes time, but I just want to show you that you can structure the whole class here in Nearpod. So you can ask your students to watch a video, and after that video you can ask them to come up with a short paragraph, okay, or a summary about the video that they just watched, and well, let their partners know what they think about the content of the video. Okay, so this is another feature that you can use in Nearpod. When they write down, you will be able to read. Their partners will be able to read too, and they will be able to once again peer assess, and you can provide your students with some feedback instantly. Okay, so let's move on to Mayam. Let me tell you that if you have found the previous digital tools interesting, this one has probably all main features that I have mentioned so far. Okay, and I'm going to open Mayam. So what I want you to do is to go back to Zoom, and I can show you how Mayam works. Okay. I'm going to open Mayam here from my browser. If just in case that you want to know more about Mayam, I just recommend you to contact your Richmond local coach or consultant, and that person will be more than glad to let you know all about Mayam. Okay. So, okay. This is my demo. This is a teacher demo, and this is what you're going to have. Okay, in the top of the page, you will have some tabs. First one is Mayam. The second one is Classroom. Then you have something that is called News, which is kind of new, and Library. I'm going to focus here in Library, and then I'm going to go back to Classroom to show you probably the most powerful feature that Mayam has. I want you to go to Library. I'm going to go to Library. I want you to pay attention to this information, because in Library, you're going to find this amount of books. Okay, it changes depending on the country you are. Here in Colombia, we have this number of books, but I mean, the number is not going to change that drastically. It is going to be pretty similar, okay? So for example, here we have more than 7,000 books, which is a really, really big amount of books. It is like a complete library that is categorized by by different groups. Here we have, for example, science, we have social studies, we have some books about hobbies and how to. If you open one, for example, I'm going to open social studies category, and here I'm going to find almost 2,000 books categorized by these subgroups that are biographies, country and geography, disasters, field trips, history. So as you can see, not only the English teacher can take advantage of this platform, but also all teachers in a school. Okay, I'm going to open the biographies section, and here you will find all these books, 371 books. Okay, all related to different characters. Okay. If you step on any of these books, it will show you the information about the book. It will inform the reader about the English, the English level of the book. Okay, the book English level. It will inform you about the publisher, the book series, about the audio time, because I mean, it is not only something that will help the students develop reading skills, but also listening skills, writing skills, and I will show you that just in a moment. Okay, before we take a look at one book, I want to tell you that the first experience a student has when they open the platform is that they have to answer a diagnostic test. So the platform knows what is the student English level. And then after that, after answering that test, the student has to answer an interest questionnaire. Okay, so the platform will know about the student's interests and about the student's English level. In that way, the platform is going to recommend that reader some specific books. Okay, it doesn't matter that with that recommendation, the student is not going to be able to choose any of those 7,000 books that are allowed there in the platform. Okay, it is just like what My does is to personalize the reading experience. Okay, because it is going to recommend you books based on two variables: your English level and your interests, which is pretty cool. Now, I'm going to open this book. The experience that the students have when they read one book is one of a kind, since they can read at the same time and listen. I'm sorry about that noise. Listen to the narrator. They can adjust the speed of the narrator, and they can do different things here. So let me show you.
LeBron, Chapter 1, A Star in the Making. In 2017, the Cleveland Cavaliers were battling the Boston Celtics in a playoff game. Cavaliers star LeBron James took a shot. Swish! He became the leading National Basketball Association, NBA, playoff scorer of all time.
So as you can see, while the students are reading, there's going to be a narrator, okay? And just in case that, just in case that the student wants to take down some, write down some notes or something like that, or keep a journal, here in the right part of the screen, in that bar, you are going to be able to click here in journal, and they have the chance to write down their notes, or to come up with a summary, or to come up with the main idea of the page they're reading. The teachers will be able to see what the students write down in their journals. Students can use these tools. For example, they can highlight some words that they don't know, or if you give them instructions to highlight those verbs in past, well, they're going to do it. Was, raised, okay, started. So this is something really important, because the experience that they're going to have while reading any of these books is so amazing for them. They can add this type of notes. For example, if they don't, they can add these figures, all these figures that you have, that you can see here. They're going to have a dictionary, just in case that they don't know one of the words they're reading. They're going to have a dictionary there in the platform. Okay.
Andrés, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Can you maybe show the teachers an example for the little ones? How the material looks for the little ones?
Sure. Okay. So something really great about My is that here in library, we were in Browse, right, where you can find all the books. Next to it, there is a tab that says My List, and next to it, it is something that is called Search. In Search, you will be able to filter all the books you want. For example, if you want to take a look at those books that are for little kids, or that, their English level is not that high, so you can use this Lexile button in order to look for those books that are, for example, an A1 or an A2 level. So you just have to move this filter, and then you click here in Search, and you're going to have this type of books. Let me tell you something really important about my own. In my own, you will be able to find books for little kids, okay? I mean, for all grades, from K to 12th grade or 11th grade in our case. For example, what is water, okay? For little kids, there is one series that is called Hello Genius, and they are really great because, I mean, they teach, at the same time they're teaching language, they're teaching some values. Like this one, Hypo says, excuse me. Let's take a look at this one. This is for little kids, okay? Just for you to show you one example. Start over.
Hippo says, "Excuse me," by Michael Dahl. Here come Mom and Hippo. Hippo waits at the bus stop. "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me." Hippo gets on the bus. "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me." Hippo walks down the sidewalk. "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me." Hippo gets on the elevator. "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me," says little chick. "May I get on the elevator?" "No room, no room, no room," say the other animals. "Excuse me," says Hippo. "There is always room for one more."
So that one is just one example for little kids. All you have to do is, you know, use these filters. You can filter by fiction and non-fiction books. You can filter by the Lexile, as I already told you, Lexile level, non-fiction and fiction. You can filter by using this your level. Okay, so you have like different filters here in order to look for the most suitable books for you to assign to any particular classroom or grade. If you know the name of the book, you can actually type it here and then you will find it. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Like, for example, this one, Big Party.
Little Lizard's Big Party. This is Dad Lizard. This is Mom Lizard. This is Gary Lizard. Today is my birthday, said Gary. Can I have a party? Said Gary. Yes, said Mom. Can I have balloons at my party? Said Gary. Yes, said Mom.
Okay, so something really important about Mayan is that right at the end of the book, the student has to answer some reading comprehension questions. There's going to be like a quiz, and those scores that the students get in that quiz will be shown in the teacher's profile. I mean, the teachers will be able to see what the students' results were. Okay, so that's really cool. And now what I want you to show you is something that you can, as teachers, do, and it is to create projects. So if you go to Classroom and then you click on Projects, you will be able to create a really structured activity or the whole project for them. And if you click on create new project, you will have to enter like this information, the title, the description, and the project objective. But what I want to show you here is that you're going to have the opportunity to create as many tasks as you want. For example, if you want to assign one particular book for one of your classes, here you have to click on reading task. You have to click on reading task, and in reading task you have to enter the title, you have to enter the objective, and then you click on the manage books, and you're going to find the filter that I just showed you before. If you know, for example, the name of your book, you can enter it. You can enter it, and here you will find all the books available. All right. You can ask your students to read one book. Okay, you want the whole class to read one book, or you want to let your students choose the book they want to read. Okay. So for example, you can choose like 5 books, and you can ask in the instructions, you can write down in instructions for students to choose 2 books and read them if you want. Okay, so you can assign as many books as you want. It is up to you as teachers, and then you just have to go back and your reading task will be created. If you want your students to, for example, create a writing task, if you want to create a writing task because you want your students to write something about the book, you can actually do it. So you can create a writing task. You can, although this is optional, you can select this a word goal. So for example, for little kids, you can ask them to come up with a list of the words that they didn't know, okay, that they learned while reading the book. Or you can ask 11th graders, for example, to write down a 200 words essay if you want, okay? And you can set the time goal to, I want my students to write down a 200 essay in 30 minutes. So, or in less than 30 minutes, or well, this is really important for the students to get familiar with international exams formats. Okay, you know that sometimes they ask test takers to write down essays. Okay, they have to deal with time and they have to deal with the number of words. Okay, so they need to know how to synthesize information, and they need to know how to manage their time. So in some way you can train them, okay, before they actually take those international exams. If you want others to check what their partners wrote down, you can activate this peer review item. So it will allow students not only to read but also to comment. Okay, so once again, you can work like in a forum. Okay, that's great. Moreover, if you want your students to read but also complete a graphic organizer, here you're going to have a graphic organizer task, and you can ask your students to use this KWL chart, for example, what I know, K, W, what I want to know, and L, what I learned, okay, after reading. Or you can ask your students to come up with differences and similarities between the main characters of the reading, or your favorite characters. It depends on the instructions, and it depends on the project objective that you set right at the beginning. You can ask your students to fill out this cause and effect graphic organizer. You have event timeline. Well, you have all these graphic organizers available. So it is not only about reading, but also, you know, understanding the content, writing down notes, filling out the graphic organizers, answering the quiz after reading, coming up with a paragraph, writing an essay, writing whatever you ask your students to write. And also here in the project that you can create, for example, a test. Okay, so you can ask your students to retake the diagnostic test that they took right at the beginning. Remember the first experience students have when they enter to Maya, or you can select this benchmark exam, which that is going to create a task based on the student English level. Okay, so if you want to know if your students actually improve after reading, after writing down something, after filling out a graphic organizer, and all the activities that you come up in a project, you can actually ask them to take another test if you want, okay, as many times as you want. Then what you're going to do is to save your project, and then the students will have to well, to complete it, okay? You can set a due date, and that's it. You can create projects for low achievers, or you can create projects for high achievers, or for the whole class. Okay, you can differentiate once again, as you were, as I showed you with Google Classrooms, and that's it. Something that is great with Mayum is that you can work offline. So students, if they want to read a book, they won't necessarily need internet connection, because they will be able to download some books and read them while in, I mean, when they do not have connection, okay, when they're not connected. Okay, so this is like, I mean, in general terms, what you can do with Mayum. However, there are like lots of features that I didn't have the time to tell you, but as I told you, you can contact your Richmond consultant or coach, the local one, and that person is going to let you know more about this powerful tool, okay? I want you to go back to Nearpod, please, because we're going to move. And the last digital tool that I want to show you is this English portal, okay? In the English portal, you will be able to find a lot of resources, activities, websites, apps, to practice vocabulary, grammar, and all language skills. Okay, you're going to have a diagnostic test, and you're going to have lots of multimedia and interactive material. So if you go back to Zoom, I'm going to show you how to get access there to the portal. Okay, remember that when we finish the session, you will have the link. Okay, you will have the link to get access to the English portal here, or you can actually right now take a picture to the link, okay, to the URL if you want. And now here in the English portal, as I told you, you're going to have a diagnostic test. There is a general English begin test, a general English test, and there is another one that is called a young learners test. Okay, here you have the score, and here you have the level. So depending on the student's score, you will be able to know what the English level that person got. Okay, here you have different categories. You have the English levels. If I open the basic user A2, this is what I'm going to be able to see. I have an introduction just for you to get to know and to get familiar with the platform, and to know how to work with different websites and stuff. Here you're going to have the grammar section, vocabulary section, reading, listening, speaking. You're going to have some videos, world news, and some tools. So if I open reading, I'm going to have all these websites, I'm going to have all these activities, I'm going to have quizzes, I'm going to have stories, I'm going to have songs, and lots of things, okay, that are stored here in the platform. Lots of websites that the English portal will help you to get, okay? I mean, the English portal will take you to those websites and applications so you can actually use them. If I open this one, For example, this is one of the activities that the portal has, and these are some readings. Okay, I'm going to open folk tales. Here I have The Little Red Hen, Chicken Little, Mr. Bunny's Carrot Soup. So I'm going to open the first one, The Little Red Hen, but just for you to see that here we have some material for little kids. The Little Red Hen in English. Okay. So here you can read, or you can let the narrator read, and the students are going to get like they're going to be exposed to two different types of accents and stuff. So if I click here in this icon, the speaker icon, this is what happens.
A little red hen found a bag of corn. I will take it home and make muffins, she said. The little red hen asked a duck, will you please help me lift my bag of corn? The duck said no.
And then you continue, all right?
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, it says goodbye when you're closing it. It is so cute, and you have lots, as I told you, lots of resources there, websites, apps that you can use, okay, and they're all here in the English portal. All right, I want you to go back to Nearpod, okay, because we are about to finish. And here in Nearpod, in the next slide, I'm going to show you another feature that Nearpod has, and this is like the last activity, okay? In this one, what I want you to do is to choose a character, and after you choose the character and you ask your students to enter, choose the character, and when all students are there, are connected, and they're ready, there's going to be some questions that the students have to answer, okay? So this is like a quiz, if you want to call it like this, all right? But it is really great. It is really, appealing for them, interesting, you know? So we have Hortensia. She chose a panda bear. Here we have Veronica. We have an octopus. Rashmika, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. Alex, we have Alex, so we have 4 people. Now we have a turtle. Darlene Peralta is there, very good. I'm waiting for more people, okay, good. Jamie Avila, we have Claudia, that's great. Okay, I'm going to give you like some time for you to enter. Okay, now we have Leonardo Mendoza. Choose a character and get ready to climb that mountain. Okay, so you guys are going to try to climb that mountain while answering some questions that I just created for you. Okay, Flor de Maria, we have Nancy Martinez. Okay, now we have Santurk. Okay, I'm waiting for more players. Okay, we have 11 players. Remember that if you're having problems with Nearpod, you can stay in Zoom so you can see what I'm actually doing with Nearpod, okay? So I think that we have 11 players, so we're going to start. Now we have Magda, we have Luis, we have Zaida, okay. Okay, I think that's it. So we're going to start, okay, with these 14 players, and this is what we're going to be able to do with Nearpod. Now you are in question number 2. Question number 2 is, what is scanning? And this is what the students, okay, I have to choose a character. Okay, very good. So we have Claudia as the winner of this contest, and then we got Zaida in the second place and Alex in the third place. Okay, Rachmika, you were so close. You were in the fourth place, and Darlene in the fifth one. Okay, so this is something that you can't do with Nearpod. This is somehow a quiz, but it is so cool for students. Okay, and that's it. Skimming and scanning, really important reading strategies for you to teach students how to use them. All right. Here I have another question. Did you find any of these tools useful and why? So in Nearpod, you can create all these type of questions. There are some like games that you can add, you can upload videos, you can create your slides. If you have a PowerPoint presentation created already, you can upload it here and use those slides that were already created in a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, upload those slides here, and you can create some questions, okay, between those slides that you created before. Okay, so here you can ask any question that you want, and here you have the webinars or tutorials. Okay, so for every single digital tool, okay, you're going to have like the URL or the link or la liga, all right, just for you to get access to those webinars and tutorials and explore a little bit more that digital tool that you found really interesting throughout this webinar, and take a closer look at it. Take a closer look. All right. So take a picture. Don't know, Jimena, if the teachers wrote down any questions or if I can answer anything that you want to
Thanks, Andrés. So far, I've been able to provide them with answers on my own, on whether things are or not. But if you teachers have any other questions you'd like Andrés to answer, please feel free to write them in the chat room, please, and I will read them to Andrés. But so far, I've been able to provide answers.
That's great.
Luis is asking us if they can share or access digital books through Mentimeter. No, not really, right?
Books?
Yeah. If
no.
That kind of content with students through
you can upload. You can upload, for example, pictures. So if you have a book that you want to share with your students, probably you can you want to take a picture to that page or something like that, and you can upload them, all right, in different slides. but the complete book cannot be uploaded in Mentimeter. Okay, if you want to have a complete book there in just one platform, Mayan is the one. Okay.
And for more information on Write and Improve, please follow the link that Andrés is sharing with you on the screen right now. That will take you, as you mentioned a while ago, to a tutorial, right?
Yes, it is actually a real webinar about Write and Improve.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that was the other question.
That's great. That's great for them to check, for you teachers to check.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? Mayon is not free. For information on how Mayon works in your countries, you need to contact your local Richmond representatives because no, it is not free.
It isn't free.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We're getting lots of thank yous now, Andrés.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, teachers, for having found the time to join us. I know that all the tools that Andrés shared with you are useful. Some of them are free, some of them are not, but you might want to discuss each one of them with fellow teachers, to your coordinators and directors, because they're all very, very useful. I want to thank personally Andrés for having given us this webinar twice. Thank you, Andrés. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimena, for giving me the chance to share all this information that is so relevant in this challenging time we're facing. And I want to thank everyone for their for participating actively, and for being part of this webinar. Thanks a lot, teachers.
Thank you, Andrés. Thank you, teachers. And remember that we will be making the recording of each session available to you. Your local Richmond representatives will be telling you how to access the recordings in case you want to go over Andrés's presentation again and the different tools he presented. We will be making the recordings available to you as well. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, Andrés. Muchísimas gracias.
Okay.
And looking forward to meeting again for another amazing session. Thank you, everyone.